can go on and on. Kachabi diaring. But in Lafiya Ninkala Kula, I feel like a command Baba Kele. And again, I appreciate you allowing me to ask all these questions because I think it is important. You are a public figure. You own a big platform on social media. You own a big nonprofit here in Washington, in the United States. And so that also comes with a lot of
the platform or social media, I will say, but I want to correct the non-profit I don't own. Nobody owns a non-profit.
Well, you founded it. That's the credit. We have to give the credit to you. You founded it. You had the vision and you founded it. And you have a great team. We'll give the credit to the team too. You have an incredible team of staff that you work with, including volunteers as well. But the point I want to make, that brings you into a lot of public eye and attention. And sometimes whatever you do is viewed at a lens that if you are not in this public sphere, that you would not have been viewed at that level. Right. So there's a lot of scrutiny that comes with it. So recently, and this is probably an uncomfortable conversation, but I'll have to ask. Your wife passed away, and I'm sorry. May her soul, God bless her soul, and I pray that God gives her the best place in Jannah and have mercy on her soul and all other individuals who pass. And then her passing was, received very sympathetically from people across the Gambian society. But I do also think that at the end of the day, you are the spouse, you are the husband of the person who passed away, and there is nobody else who can understand the length of that pain but you, and how you manifest that. I think that's your subjective decision. But I think what followed after her passing is a lot of social media criticisms and attack on your personality for how you handled that situation, right? And I'm just curious, looking back, is there anything about that situation that you would have done differently in terms of how you publicly handle yourself, in terms of how the camera constantly being with you? Because part of what the people said is you can mourn, you can cry, but does it have to be with the camera all the time? And I think that was a tough part for a lot of people. How was that experience like for you? That's a really tough moment, and I just want to emphasize that. But is there anything that specifically that you would have done differently in terms of how you handle the situation?
Nimba kela sama, nimma kanyama, bala falale. I would not change a single thing. And I have no regrets doing anything that I did and still continue to do. Ni dunia be lafita yembula. Ngafale, I wrote it in my messages. Because Twabol Kole, he who feels it knows it. Menketa, mbetembo mento until this minute. I'm trying to be strong and life has to go on. Dari ngafo nyaming in all the messages that I did. Whether ngamen sefelem, wala ngamen folem. Nkole ko. Mbemem baluka. Madwa moye. What I'm living, I don't wish it for anybody. Namuso nindingole fata. And yeah, for nyamente public figure, and I certainly don't dispute that. I understand the magnitude of this. Just last week, Malong Namone Dundi on social media. I just picked up my phone to do something, and notification came in. Mbuloya Ma. It was somebody who commented or liked a post I put out 7 hours prior. And I saw 100 and it went to the dashboard and the stats. This is on my personal page. And I saw 140 something thousand people viewing this in 7 hours. And I do a lot of thinking too when I'm in the bathroom, when I'm taking a shower. I'm like, what interest do 147,000 people have in my life? I don't think I am connected to that many people. Ngalone, my network is vast for both Gambia and Jang. And the proof of this is Sangomen Keta Kunung. By the time I shared the GoFundMe on all the platforms that I did in less than 45 minutes. Over $3,000 was donated towards that. It was at 3,000 and change, and by the time I did it, an extra less than an hour, an extra $3,000 was donated. I don't even check to see how much it is today and everything. So ngalo ne ko mol ben no makanne, and everything that happened was calculated. Ninte fangolem. That's number one. Number two, do kudo lelbije melia lonko ngani yo mumenti for janimbe fala neneta fola because we've been in fatule tema, and even on this platform I wouldn't share them. But some of the things mbemen kekan mba kekan atele and not for modo. Number two, Fatu was there as a public figure. Yaje mo Jamal public figures. Mel Banta Gambia. She went out at a Fangole Tata Ayela Sangol cover. And we can see the coverages that she did. Whether Dul believe a Balukan for Ilasaya Kola. I think Ning Hakilo Ye the last funeral she probably covered was either Sida Job, may he so rest in peace, or I don't know who. But he's had interviews with them at a Lumfidef Shoto, and Bering Ibantafana, she did coverages. Fatu has produced documentaries through, of course, my initiative with others. We created documentaries for people like Biri Biri, Alasango Kola, for people like Musa Afiangom, Ilasango Kola, and several other public figures whose life we wanted to document. And for that reason, her life needed to be chronicled. Ndafita fula dunia ya atemujumalti. So camera almel bejeta, it was in every single time, or every single one of them, that were championed by me. Ntetara Dawad Randing, I'm expecting Molben Tala Daming. Kunun Drong or Kunun Ko, I stumbled on a video that actually, if you go to Modu Job, he's one of my the Melbe Doko Kanye Gambia. He shared a video of Mimben Donkan Daming. I think this was Jenaba Dabola, the award ceremony that was done on behalf of Jenaba last year or something. I was there dancing. And Modu shared that. People cut this video and circulated it on social media. Nyumwali Concerto Menjos Potala Amami, people cut my videos. Every time people cut my videos, whether Janneng or Gambia, people see me places, they take pictures and videos of me, regardless of what I'm doing. And as a result, I try to be as careful as possible. Purka jibe mbe menkela and what I wouldn't do. And I don't ever censor anyone, except you want to disrespect me. Because Ntefangu journalist and I respect the field, and I respect people that are doing it honorably, humbly, and asking questions. You are the first person who is asking me about these things. And I told you at the beginning that I'd never run away from any interviews. It doesn't matter what it is. The toughest guy that Mobeke Borino Menawale Kafenke Gambia was Pandering by, he interviewed me. Tawo interviewed Jube, Saj Ousman Joof's interviewed Pamo Ndere, and you see it. Because Mandingol Ka for men na niman kuke kutela. I have nothing to hide in terms of what I do, or I'm not trying to be perfect. I wouldn't say I'm perfect or blowing my own trumpet, but I try as much as possible to do things right. So Nimfatu Temo, Mbemembe Kekan, part of the footages that came out were to take to produce the documentary, some of which are things Melia Lonko Aedung and Janning Fatu Bebanna, for example, or Biol Melngedundi, which raised the most attention. Ala outfit all and a bungo longomen and tataka ala bungo park. Molmang men lonko, she was planning a photo shoot because ala heo lungo among wo Biol dunno. Or ibe ayesan ame dunno. Ayedol dung, but it never had pictures with them. Akoni salo banta lafita la photo shoot kela to have those memories. Ama keno. And musol leti. Momo ya long isa long ko hajantale. Bayol dol bije mulla swala. They gave it to her as their brand ambassador, and Fatmata Joma Kamara is one of those people who was always supporting her and other people. Jamal Biji, people gave her stuff. And she does outreach for them, publicity. Kawol Jita. Memory Jamal Lel Biji, Fen Jamal Lel Biji, Alafita Menkela Num Amam Menke. And Ekonimo Fata, Alafita Ku Betol Menna. And I know this is subjective depending on who is interpreting it. And I'm okay with people interpreting things how they want. I am very okay with that. You never saw me responding to anybody directly, Mele attack directly, Mele Kumol for Mele independent fan call for. Even my own platform were actually writing this, didn't all at some point were fearful, and I had to tell them, I really don't mind. Ask Musa Jata, who is the current country coordinator, ask anybody at works at Gambian Talents. They were trying to avoid to post things about me. You cannot do this for other people and other platforms and leave me out of it. You can choose to put whatever you need to, as long as albe mem fokama, tonyaleng, fanianteng, is not fabricated, it's no lies, it's facts and stuff that you see out there or you know or you cover by yourselves. I'm okay with it. So molbe mem fokama, it's their opinion. But ntebe mem balukang until this minute ngalonne. And I'm not making anything up. I'm not trying to get endorsement for anything. September 22nd, Lala birthday. If you watch the documentary we did for her that was released on that day, you will see a lot of those footages that were very important to be taken. Namantanu, that life cannot be chronicled. It needed to have been chronicled. It needed to have been written. Her story needed to be told. And I promised the world to tell her story. Ulatna Abanta, na Semester Avenue ta nga Tulala, which was her biggest show abe menkekang. It's called Fatu Samba Semester Avenue. Ulatna Banta, karambungo meng ayam makoy purkalo. The school was renamed after her. I mean, added Atola Fataji. Momeo nganyo sotonye akonyeko. This institution that we are using to train these young people who are doing so well in this country. Nimbanko feeding the sul jef ay wole fanyi. Ala idea akonye deka bi dañ dé sul jef. Dama propose ñu change to school bi def ko sa tour. So that nitati jang ñu fatale ko la so fi nekatu.
Your legacy.
Birabe o fala. Inte mate be maybe we thought ko ntelebe fala te nyala. Birabe o fala. I accepted it. We went through the process. Atele o process o date purka tuonying falling. Eventually, the institute was changed from Gambian Talents Multimedia Training Institute for Youth Employability to POJ Training Institute for Youth Employability, which is by Ousman Joof Training Institute. Alasaya Kola, we had to change that to name it POJAFT, POJ and Fatu Samba Training Institute for Youth Employability. Purkatela legacy maintain. Nga wallahi dole dir duniala aning atela. Mojelle banta Gambi. Aso karifulala. Ite moela kotek. Kotek. Mol mele doko Kenya in every way, shape, or form. And I choose not to do that. I'm not saying I'm not moving forward or moving on. Mawofo. I'm not saying that. I will move on. And I'm moving on. But purka nyinala, man la fika okay. And these are some of the ways. Anytime you show nyinje, ya toje je ya la natalo je, abay reman na tola. If you go to Gambian Talents, you can follow JJ, you can't learn Natalo JJ. Atale Olo. I've been doing Gambian Talents was in existence since 2006. Pour Melma Long. It's one of the first online media platforms in the Gambia. One of the first media platforms. Any freedom you'll be in Tele Sabang in this work. Birabe Kela. Facebook Mansoto. When Gambian Talents was established, things were done through our website and MySpace. I don't know how old are you. Malum for MySpace, London. Do you know about
I do know
MySpace?
MySpace, but I was young, man. I was a kid.
Yes. MySpace days, we had, a page on MySpace. We had a page on High Five. High Five in MySpace. Wolel be caring wo watu. Facebook man soto, Instagram man soto, Twitter man soto. But it be in contact because I was interviewing somebody. I know you don't have time, and I'll be happy to delve
Oh no,
with you into
go
some of
ahead.
these
No,
things.
I got
Jok
time.
Malik, Ben Jok Malik interview kang Jok Malik in the UK is the one I was interviewing. That's the person who organizes the cultural weekend in UK, near UK la cultural we go moy Yaram Arts. Jok is who I was interviewing. Ntenim Fatuma Nyolong, and Jok was her Facebook friend. Jok a flyer share, and she listened to the show. Then I used to do this program on Paradise FM. Nkarna programo kijang on the Gambian Talents Radio. My radio was in existence before a lot of these radio stations. Eka online radio and TV memory. Before TV came, it was just the newspaper, the blog. We published a lot of things. Blog, having interviews, writing, seferole bekiri owato. Then we have the website where we are selling Gambian artists or the CD, the musical, in different things. Then that transition came. The feature to add a radio station came. We opened the Gambian Talents Radio. One of the very early radios, Wole Benunjang, Raki Radio, and One Gambia platform. Panderi watu abe doko lama nemal ni kafakala watu abe doko kekan all Gambia le, not freedom, all Gambia.net abe doko kekan Boubacar Sise le obe Minnesota le, ganyi Minnesota memfo. Nkatari kole foye. Janning abe freedom radio le lola. Aro faru kamana nyol na sista nyol be Gambia ebe la kuol kekanji. Fature wol bebe doko kekanji RTS, and they were all doing their things. Right? So we were doing that. During Fatu interview Lamoye, I impressed. It was broadcast live on Gambia in Gambia on Paradise Radio. She reached out to me. Nala connection or that wole nyama. Konyata journalist all she's practicing, she's working at the Gambia Info, now Gambia Daily, Wolem government and newspaper tabeduko kekan wolla. She was impressed. I was very interrogative and asking questions like you do, uncomfortable questions. A journalist that is open-minded and who would ask questions. And I think I'll be betraying my profession. Ningete bali walanga modo bali puru ikana nyini kafenkola. As long as there is respect and mutual understanding, I don't mind answering any question. So she started working for me then. Modol benunjele who were freelancing for me back in Gambia then. But ala passion, ala interest and everything. Nata a supersede, and this was in late 2012, 2013. Fast forward to 2017, she did so much Melbedu College. Eventually, they'll move on to different places. Some of them are now very successful. Prof. Jabai will say Kusware Jabai, who moved on. I don't know if you know about him. Prof. moved on to do. Okay, ask Prof. Nkanyi Memfoye. Ask Prof. Nkanyi Memfoye. Prof was freelancing for me at the time. Then Anata Eduko that he had Capital FM. And he was doing some writings and stuff for me. Chris Black, now in Germany, one of the biggest promoters. Chris Nyol Nyininka. Nyilbe Fatu ye Nyilbe Taraji, like Chris Wall, Prof Wall, and other people who were actually doing some freelance work. Serif Janko, Membe Daily Observer, one of the biggest journalists now in the country. Go and ask, all these people are people that I work with. But if Fatu Nata and took this to a different level, I invited to her house for a dinner. Nka baga sundingol tanka kijang pura eduko dati. Tumando ba ka telefono drone used to do her stuff. I lumfi def men that he yani biri nyol, I mean Musa Ngom nyol. Several Gambian celebrities biri Balukan, Imam Abdullah Job, Musukeba Drame, prominent Gambians in different fields. Very change of government keta. Nko is good for nga office oyele je. Ning ibnjaya kata, and she went and facilitated the opening of that office. I ku jamaleke. Fom futata mbe tembo mento teng. So nte alone menketa meati namba celebrate kan meati nanga kanambungo nyin tolala when we started doing the school. You know how many prominent people came out of that? Kunun ko bale mbota 360 mo la jang Yusufa ika jibele wato wati aba fokan apota nang awodo di la fatula kunun ko ba. He's a product of Gambian talents. Nika ay Africa TV jibe ika Muhammad Bay Garmi Menje. He's a product of Gambian talents. You know Garmi,
Yes,
right?
I do.
He's a product of Gambian talents. Nitata QTV, one of their best camera woman, Adam Sise, is a product of Gambian talents. Nitata GRTS, Aissatou Toure, one of their best editors, is a product of Gambian talents. Nitata Office of the President, ila media department working under Ami Bojang, Aissatou Suwane BJ. Alassane Banyol yela Fanson Dula Law. We train over 600 successful young Gambians under the leadership of Fatou. So Purkala legacy maintain, how I deem fit, how her family and I deem fit, is what we are going to do. Ndarumbe membe kikan, a family nying endorse le. Tabana fana la sister sol nyininka. My extended family for who would have opinions, mele along ko maybe birabe baluling inane namang friends soto. They had no interaction or whatsoever. But momo e fatu long. Camera diata fatu e back. Camera diata fatu e num back. Anybody who knows her knows this. Abedawa Randin, the first thing she does is pick her camera. She records and takes everything. So I mean kanu. Ntebe ole ki kangai.
Your memorial.
Bari mul malong. And it's okay.
Come ya for nyamen don come jang tubabul I think American will call it for celebration of life. Nimo banda most of the time. It will call it for kafu ko amarila legacy mole continuela. The kafu mole ko alkana kumbo. It's a celebration of life. Even though Donila Dino Kilimbo, it will call command wala. So I think what you're doing in a sense is you are memorializing her legacy in a way that you deem fit. And I don't think anybody has the right whatsoever puruka for modoiko. It moment kanu na banda even though dino alandile ko kudol nyanda kala nyame right ndolbe muslim already but also but how you deal with that I think that's yours that's your prerogative it form man control sort of other what do so I think hadama dingol nyanta hakilot lo to baba especially gamenol we expand so much we overreach nkadumola life kono nkadumola cool kono so much things that have absolutely nothing to do with us. Nite moja kudu nemi yalan ko man comfortable. Tambala itele nte talk. Nte ko le foi. Ni be kam fala mbulo ko non ko bro you're the one that click on my face. If you're not happy, move to the next. There's a lot of content that you can relate with. If you're not happy about Ibrahim Amindundi, then tambi du karen kana news about. Don't create a narrative.
Bari ibaru ngani mfoe. Nte man kujama beje nte maaje nak. Menka antel batandi wale na family ni loved ones. It will make a social media no so much. I'm so busy that na doko siya batambule. Na family commitments will siya batambule. Mo jamale jikitana. I'm doing a lot of things that are very demanding. I'm doing a lot of time sensitive things that I need to do in real time that would have lots of consequences. Ninga watu sotong konkatara social media le kamul jibe kamul jabi kaninga fenkoke. Mbe consequences jamal lelbe lala nkang.
You don't get that.
So I don't have a lot of time.
You don't get that.
And even if I have the time to, being in the position that I am in over the years, I learned to not look at those things because batandi. So the snippets that come here and there are things that people show us. Number one, Nimo Eseferoke I tag bedunkan na Facebook notification in ambulo ya ma. If I listen or watch ningela caption oje, wala I watch it 1, 2, 3 times because when they do those things and it's published on different platforms, more can tag yele. Nte fani afala. So nta afala mbukaje. But ni molen tag ida me asafe wala where for wolen tag wala modole tag ye on the comment section. I see it. When I read the caption or I click 1, 2, 3 seconds, I look at the content of it, or I even try to read the wrong, I stop it. And if the other people, how I know about it is family, which is the biggest way in Kaji Nyami. Because family and friends ka fanyele, is en kumandi, it will their concern, ibatata, aketo ledimi. Because it will they sit there and watch this whole thing when it's happening live, or they read the whole thing, including all the comments. So they know more than I do. Ntema men long, what ente batandila. So ni tole wajenak, it will lekananteka ya duno sele fangol kang, to come to me to tell me, the moment they also start to talk, it doesn't matter how much I love you, it doesn't matter how much I respect you. Once I listen to you for a certain time, for a few seconds or a minute, I stop you. I tell you I don't want to know. So unka demanding men long. Kariye nyine fo ekwe nyine ke. Mo jamal beje fang ikasile sometimes like I have my family Mele along ko itol mantra social media, especially Facebook or TikTok, like na alfal, some of them, whether it's family or friends or other kid alfal, they would be told, afo pause nyimbula. It all they just come to me and say, nyimbula. Ibe nyine fokem. I will stop them respectfully and tell them man lafika along. Because ninga along wole ben batandila. It's unfortunate. I apologize to you because my life affects you. There is no doubt. My life here, na family be affected. And I do apologize to them genuinely. But I tell them, ko, na life them. Na life them. It affects you, but it's my life. I don't want to listen to it. And I don't want to watch it. And I don't want to hear it. And ite tenten na purka okumo futandima. If you send me the video, I watch a part of it, I stop it. Dolka kuntun ne abeduna WhatsApp forumol tonin dulato. I don't jabi muk. You don't see me respond to them. You don't see me go to their platforms and comment there. You don't see me do a live video or write something to respond to them. If I do my writings or I have my interviews or whatever, I mean, or I do some shows, I can educate people and talk about certain things. But itengela muk nkonka dunne nkonka mukari le jabi wala nkam fenko mukari le. Because at the end of the day, it's about me and it's their opinion and I respect it. But interfere change la. I wouldn't change anything.
And I really admire that. I think even for Suraka or Mandin Kola Fanangavo, Iman Milong, what a kunolela, Tanatela. You know, so I think sometimes the best way, you don't even have the luxury of that time to be scrolling on Facebook. You don't have that. You have so much on your plate. But the reason I also try to highlight that is to make people understand that it's okay to say these things. Most of it, I try to do that too. If you're saying stuff about me, I don't read it. Notification, disapproval now. Even I try to remove my emotions out of it because I'm a rational person. At least I'm an emotional being, but I'm also very rational. And I understand a lot of how Namolu Ikemira Nyaming. Because before, when I was younger, it was harder. Everything is emotions. You know, as I grew up, I learned, you experience stuff, you understand that the way we interact, the way we engage is so far removed from what is imperative for our understanding in living together in a much more civic way, you know. Sa kachano nga disagree nga nyo fenke watu manyo demean, you know, manyo jendi wala manyo kafuko kari fate nyale matabang or something, right? So I think more important the back and more people need to do that too. Do not fall for the bait of
molkan sile ikanje like moye kuma femma abe viral kang abe takan dunia be ba fenkelante mambo akala mafang ngadung mol kono whether it's Seattle here or in Gambia and people are looking at me. Really, is that him? Atle nyinti. Foi mantra nyinni ne foka nyina kuola. I did not see it. I told the button, but the way people look at me, they'll sympathize with me, they'll empathize, they'll in fact try to call me to the side or talk to me in the public. Caribbean fokane barikane danku, can I say this, don't do that. They try to, say things to me to bring to me, and I cut all of them short. I go there for something else. The latest one, Ngasango Dole Sotonunjang, right after I came back from Gambia, and that's when all of those talks were talking. And I was just going to do what I had to do about Sangonying. But I was there, and several people had to try to call me on the side. About that. I'm busy trying to take care of Ninsangola Kuo. I'm a public servant. I have work to do here. I'm trying to help this family to figure things out and do this and do that. So I'm a time Bugan I give you 1-2 minutes. You want to start telling me, I cut them short. Because the same day that some of the things were published or were said about me are the same days that sometimes I'm out in the public and doing things. And the people at those events are looking at me with that Ndesan eye. Either Ndesan, wala they feel it for me, wala dul comfort and kama. Some are mad at me for doing that. Some people took it very personal. Some sent me messages to try to see, and they were irrational about it. People that respect me. Yes, I respect you so much, or I love you. I will unfollow you 10 in 10. I just, okay. I don't go back and forth to engage people on those things.
So one more issue, and hopefully I'll let you go, Ousman. And I think hopefully we can spend a little bit.
My battery is at 10%. Just to let you know, the light will go darker shortly.
Yes, we'll definitely wrap up shortly. And finally, we've delved into a lot of things. Your foundation, I mean, you founded a non-profit. We went into a lot of controversy as well. Ita formation that from Farafenya all the way to United States of America. Now, one area me and Kweka cover a lot as a journalist, but you don't speak a lot about in terms of your opinion is politics. Right? And I'm just curious too, in terms of what is happening back home, in terms of the social and economic and the political issues. Why do you mostly decide to just cover, but you mostly don't assert your political opinions or leanings, or in fact, what's happening back home in terms of what you see happening?
Whether it's back home or here, akumayatale is an ethical thing. And Fatula Saya Kola, a lot of people credit her for that, which are things that I instill in her and the people running the platform, Gambian Talents platform, until this day, to the best of their ability to actually do it. Because if you want to be respected, Wolem, Fatula Saya Kola, we went to visit a lot of the media houses when I set up a new team to introduce them to the team. I mean, this is there. Tai Lamin Pad Jibe Lamin of iAfrica, he said it. Ako until Bejang, Gambian Talents is the only platform mo bukafo no abedaming. Ikafo until mo NPP leti. Ikafo Fado Ture le Kerfato. Fado Kamara be NPP le. Aruna Drame, all of them Ike told for ye mention abedaming, but nobody knows my leaning. That is what needs to happen. We have a good relationship with all of them, and as you rightly mentioned, we cover all of them. Nitaraji Kuno Nimbi to our page, you will see all the coverage we did, whether it's the by-election, whether what is happening with NPP, with the government, with CA, with these people, that people, all of them. And wala nabirim fatu bantayaje, it will be. And that strengthens my belief and the ethics that I'm applying. It is actually working. Because alasaya kola, melbi nataji, berin lawyer dabo nata aning Halifa Sallah imitaji. Janni Balonna, President Ola Muso Nataji, and Sidi Njainyul and others. Before you know it, of course, I mean, Minister Nataji, all the use, before you know it, the members of the diplomatic corps, Fana Bina, journalist Dol Bina, COC Bina Kan, which means we gave a voice to everybody. And we did not see anyone purka foko okay mbejanne wala mbejanne. We try to be fair and balanced to the best of our ability, and removing that personal opinion and belief is very important when you do this work. I know it. I know it. I will interrogate any politician the same manner I would interrogate the other politicians. My personal political beliefs, I wouldn't make public. But if I'm a citizen, I have my franchise right to be able to vote. I will vote for the candidate or people that I believe have whose agenda and priorities align with my beliefs and can serve my purpose and the purpose of my community, my people. Whether America Janneng wala Sulen, and a lot of us cannot distinguish this. And I do not, put this anywhere, and I don't compromise it. Like I'm me back a mansa dinna. And I'm saying it here, I don't have to hide it. I wrote about it and I'm saying it. The government gave me a plot of land for Gambian Talents for the school and the work that we are doing not long ago. After something that we have applied, but Kula Mea Lonko, Manta Bakwela, Manta Moya, we applied for this since 6-7 years ago. Fatuleba Topotokam for the past 6 years. Birafintita Dunialeng, a lot of the things she was trying to take care of for us ended up materializing. But the government gave me a plot of land a few months ago. It's not something that I had to do anything extraordinary or go through any backway. We did all that we had to do, paid all the fees, fill out all the forms, provided all documentations and support that they asked, and followed it up more than 100 times for the past 6 years about follow-up. Does that mean because Mansayo cannot deny I have to now become pro-government? I'm not against the government, but I have a very good working relationship with the Gambia government at different levels. I have a similar relationship with the UDP and all these other parties, whether Ninata Janneng, whether Ibe Gambia Dameneng, all their different chapters and branches all over the world. I have a good relationship with all of them. And the same thing applies to so many other, political parties, whether the newer ones or the older ones. And I am not going to take that. Hani esa falme along ko fatu baring kono toleng. These were some of the things that he widely credited us for. Because bring fatu be baru kang, I mean, we wouldn't use that. The platform purka esa fal agenda push when he wanted to contest for the 2021 election. We gave him maximum coverage like we do to other people, but we didn't allow that to happen. Hala Samba is Fatu's biological uncle. Atlem Fatu nyol alpha la alphati afama nyol elder sister ila elder brother. Women baby kekang ila family li house and family yep hala moko de dogal. He was contesting as a mayor in 2021. Actually 2018 or 2021. We didn't activate the platform for him. But the Atlem Fatu Fama la elder's brother. Membebe kekan. So whether it's my family, other people's family, and other things, we distinguish this, we separate it. And womanke political damati, membembe kekan. Hani jang bringing that to the work that I do here. I don't support, or provide extra services or stuff to my family members because they need anything. If my family members qualify to benefit from any program, any projects, anything we do, they go through the process and the protocol and deal with the staff. And if they qualify to get the benefit, the service, they receive it. But nobody gets any extra benefit. You would not see that in record anywhere. And if I'm connected to anyone and they come to receive service, I am very transparent to quickly tell staff that I'm related to this person. Walangi to Foyela process bank, and I tell them that this is actually my cousin, my brother, my sister, my family, my friend, or whatsoever.
So
I try to avoid that conflict of interest.
Finally, when all said and done, what would Pa Ousman Joof want to be remembered for? What would be your legacy?
Akuma Batale. But before my legacy, I'll invite you and we'll send you the details and would like you to push it, which is our second annual gala dinner that's happening at the Carl Gibson Center on January 31st.
Oh, 31st.
Our goal is to raise $150,000. Come and cover it and participate, and we'll see other roles. I will engage you about it afterwards and see how you can have you be part of it. Mbemeng Kekang, this school that I have established in Gambia that is changing the lives of the young people. We didn't get to delve into it that much, but that is my biggest honor and legacy because of the humble beginning and background. Bota daming ya fole commento nte wulutale ngambama na suti I can tonyalale that I am short because nka tulu dumbol 20-liter gallons of palm oil ning vegetable oil nkawle dunu numbama e kasamba marse auto pour kata wafi nga suwol ning tranquil nisol ning ku kotangol be bori nga seno kem fama e nga safunol wafi nga ji sumani ji potol wafi mbama ni mama e. I did a lot of work growing up in Farafenye, and things I didn't have an opportunity to is what I always try to create. And now Menke Gambia and seeing the lives it is changing and how these young people are so diverse and benefiting themselves across the world. I'll be happy to talk about that in immigration core. My model Mbembe Gambia is the solution to a lot of primary solution. Maybe not the only solution, but the primary solution to this immigration issue. The back way core for la molbe fakanje. Giving these young people opportunities, people who drop out of school, people who have never been to school, students of madrasas who finish school like Karamungo Bang and they want to be journalists, but Imantuba Kango Karang, they never have the opportunity. People who, were who went to back with deportment inata Imandula so Menkela or Libe Menkela. Ndeka Nyileta is not the average privileged person, it's the underprivileged Gambian youth who I give an opportunity, who in a million years need to go knock on any of those doors. For a commento. If 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, they went and knocked on any of these doors, which some of them had actually knocked on, and they didn't give them an opportunity. But after I provide them with the training for free, they all now have opportunities to thrive on their own, to sit at the table with themselves. The opportunity I'm giving to the disabled people. Melia Lonko is seated in the village like a young man that is in the village who graduated from high school, Fulangol Bay, Nyiltara Tubaburu, Nyiltara Combo, Atebe in the village, all the way in Nyani. And he was seen as the outcast and had no opportunity. I am contract and wanted to be a journalist, and I brought him to the combos. But in Inata combo, I'll give you a space. I mean, a slot in it. Because he's disabled, he didn't believe it. Right now, that young man, the last time I checked, was working for a radio station and was the manager of that. One time, 2 years ago, I went to Gambia. I was invited as the CEO of Gambian Talent Theatre. Fana invite Anata Purkala radio represent as the manager, and he was introducing me to everybody else. But this young man thought I wasn't going to give him an opportunity. He was hesitant. And he's one of the best Mandinka news presenters in the country right now. For his privacy, I wouldn't say his name. But these are my legacies. These are the things that I'm the most proudest of. Man time sort of delve into that, but so many of them, institutions that would never have given them, the police, the army. Right now, if you look at the Gambia police force, one of their most promising media people, Senabu Joof, is a student of Gambian talents. Senabu Joof. Keep watching. You will see her behind the camera. You will see her in front of the camera. She's multi-talented and is doing it at both level. I camera operation, no. I editing, no. I journalism, no. The military, different entities in the country. So my project is actually working. Nyin Tunkutundingol would have been ye CJ, ye economa, ye fair, ye economa. Wala idol keta nung bindanul ti ye doku ba ye karambungo bang, they have nowhere to go, anything to do, itata ye bindan yake. Nye bondi woto nata nga palaso dila. Dol nata ye keo soto ye wanyama. One of them was very promising. That young lady was so stressed during COVID because Abamaka Domorole wafi nung to at the schools. But after, when COVID came, they shut down the schools and they have no source of income. The young lady was going to go crazy and was very desperate and had suicidal thoughts based on IMM for Nyibirimba interview. Nani young lady, fast forward to today, she did so good that we assigned him to the office of the president. Eventually, she ended up marrying one of the economic soldiers that was guarding President Barrow and Ouattara Futu Senegal. So not only have we changed people to have economic stability, well, at least something now your family established. Some of them established families. Mele Alonko, they met them through Nindoku. Ama me back along the past 2 weeks, 2 of them in Lokum Fulatamila, not diningol kono, mofula dingol sort of Mele Alonko, ila football kono, they met their spouses through the work that I give them. So my model is actually a part of the big chunk of the solution to Gambia's immigration issue, because I give these young people who have no opportunities, which is the only thing they need, an opportunity to thrive, to prove themselves, and they do it with dignity and respect and hunger for success. And as a result, it labanta purke fango nafa, and they become very successful in what they are doing. Some of them are still thriving, but almost, I will confidently tell you, though, 70% of the Gambian media landscape, minimum 70%, whether radio leng, tele leng, newspaper leng, online leng, they have my students walanga diningol mel karandi there. Because we teach them 70% theory and 30% 70% practical and 30% theory. We allow them to come and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and grow. And if we go to the extent of having one of the finest social media influencers like Yusuf Ajata and others, one of the toughest journalists and most seasoned journalists in the country like Garmi, or people that are working at the highest office of the country, which is the office of the president, hey, that's something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
That's something I'm really proud of. I go to bed every day knowing that I have touched the lives of at least 10 to 25 people every day, positively. This is also something I'm very proud of, and I'm very passionate about, and I'm not taking it for granted, and I'm appreciative of them.
Man,
for the Gambian talents, I'm not making money from that, by the way. Now established that because of my history, my lived experience, and I'm supporting these young people on a daily basis. So I business I don't get paid to do this. and I haven't earned revenue from it. Everything it goes back to supporting the business, to support those young people, to buy equipment, to pay for the rent, to pay for the place and pay their salaries and stuff. And I would want this platform to be supported because it's beyond me. Sign is part of Fatu's legacy, and I want to keep that legacy going. But in addition to that, it is working and changing lives, and I want to ask all Gambians to come on deck to support this. Because Minister Alfang, okay, Mamaringol ni, Barindingol ni, Dingol, Sambakan Nanjele, and government entities are bringing their staff to come there and learn the skills that we are teaching for free of charge, which means that it needs to grow and it needs support. And it can be a big solution to some of these things. I'll be happy to have another interview on you to delve in that and what we do and the strategies and how it can work and what we know about this back way and the role we have played in actually taking that out.
Man, thank you so very much, Pa Ousman. Baraka imo kende ikadoku kendeke. I hope that you continue to do what you do. I hope that the community, both Gambian and non-Gambian, continue to support what you're doing, because at the end of the day, we win. If one person wins, the rest of us carries the rest of us with him. All of us can win together. But I think this is important. This was a wonderful conversation, almost 3 hours. And we can go on and on, because I mean, I try to ask the questions to lead us into important areas for us to talk about. But I really and genuinely appreciate you coming on. It means a lot to me.
Abarakabake. The most that I don't want, because I'm just saying this to be out there, now for the comment, I don't have time to go back and forth. And I know you baited me. I'm not gonna ask you anything. This is what about, and I told you go ahead and ask. You asked me questions that made me spill the beam and say my truth, what I know. And obviously, it's okay for others to come and respond. But if ever I don't come back out, it's because I don't have the time. I'll be happy to now follow up by providing documentation and others. And if you do try to follow up, I just don't have time. Especially now, I have an event coming up that I'm very busy with, and so many things and challenges going on. Naduko board in Gambia is so demanding. And you see how long it took even before I could grant this interview when you reach out to me. So I'm very busy. If anybody, I mean, people say something, I would love to come back, but I don't even want it to get there. What I want is, especially between Wawak, I mean, whatever is perceived between me and the Northwest Seattle Gambian Association, that let us sit down and talk about it. And I'm promising you, Sister Sona Kumandilale, to try to have a meeting with her and her team for us to see what can be done to remedy this thing. Because again, if two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffer. Now, it could be through your platforms, it could be through other platforms. I mean, and entitled to whatever the opinions are. I wish I can continue to go back and forth. Unfortunately, I'm very limited in time, but I would love to sit down and actually trust some of these things. And when I sit down, I will show all of the things that I just told you. So Abaraka Bake, that's the only one. Other than that, everything else was directly about me and what I am doing. And I see nobody responding to that besides just saying, just their personal opinion. But of course, I have alleged things and said things about other people, and they also entitled to respond to what I said. And that's perfectly fine. I wish I have the time to follow it. I may not even follow, but it's not because I don't want to, but because I am very limited in time. And historically, I haven't just done that.
No, I appreciate.
We are always on the other side of the microphone, but
interview, you know. But and platform for is to be a conduit for those kind of conversations. But na goal because kafako Ousman narang kachata then modo for nana no until that's never my goal. If you wanna come, until goal is to celebrate government stories. My goal is to have serious intellectual conversations. My goal is to interrogate issues are pertinent for all of us. It is successful, successful. Until mindset be world. But it's never about nganan and jang. TikTok nyari kon kana kala jang. That's not the goal at all. You know, and because
but and it will be fair for as a journalist, though, as I always say, it's fair you give a chance to others. Since you open the discussion for, I mean, people like me to share our stories, it's also fair that you give a chance to others. And I'm not saying it only about this issue, Fang, but for you to give a chance to other people whose names and platforms and issues are mentioned on your platform, for them to also react to it. If they don't, if it doesn't happen, is this thing. But I think that's also a best practice. I mean, for journalists to actually listen to both sides of the story, and then now give your audience that fair and that at least a fair and balanced reporting that would now enable them to make their own judgments based on what they heard or saw.
No, I agree. We'll have
Yeah.
everybody on this platform. Again, we have everybody. Again, the essence of the conversation is not to focus on peripheral stuff. For career. It's more about serious issues. That's just what I wanted to put across. But Baraka Baraka man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the honesty. But most importantly, let me end this by saying I really appreciate you delving into Fatula loss and what that meant to you, and you memorializing that legacy of Fatu, because you could choose not to talk about that. That's an uncomfortable conversation. Mourning is tough. Loss is an area, Mialanko, you have to go through it to understand it. So for you, even this is the first place publicly that I've seen you address this. So for me, that it means a lot to me. So thank you so much for really sharing that. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you very much, Mr. Sonko.
Thank you. Imokende. Baraka.
Nabaraka Bag. Thank you.